Welcome to another episode of Little Talks, your weekly dose of marketing news and insights from Littlefield Agency.
Thanks, Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda.
Oh, it's still going. You know what it is? We have the, and then he ended it.
That pumps me up.
Yeah, it's cool hearing it. Mike, how we used to do it. By the way, guys, Mike is here this week.
Welcome back, Mike. It's great to see you.
We used to do it where everything happened after, so all the sound effects all was at the end. And then Brandon got this cool new soundboard, and it's really changed our lives. Brandon, hit us with a few sound effects.
Oh, there you go. Mm-hmm. Okay, he knows it.
What else we got? Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
That's a great idea.
You know what these are? He's loaded in the old set that we had. These weren't there.
Maybe not.
It's also great.
It's so good. And our listeners are going to hear that, right?
Yeah, they heard all those.
It's amazing. What a time to be alive. Well, Mike, welcome to Tulsa.
Thanks.
Monday morning. What time did you hit the road?
I hit the road at 5:45 a.m.
5:45 a.m. on a Monday morning.
Before
Showed
the
up
sun
bright-eyed
He's
and
usually up that
bushy-tailed.
early.
Oh, yeah. I was up at 4:30
this morning.
He's an
This
early
morning.
guy, early morning guy.
Yeah, go get the beer oil
I
going.
am and I am not.
Well, you sure act like it.
That's the coffee.
Like literally here between 8:30 and 8:45, coffeeed up, bageled up, and then all things content with the Roopster.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been fun so far today. So looking forward to the rest of the day.
All day Mike day.
Oh, and it's really fun because this is your last time with Chelsea physically in the room with you.
That's what I was disappointed about today. I was expecting that she wasn't going to be here. And then she's texting me like, when are you going to be here? And I said, I thought you were out of the office. I was like going to come prancing in. And then I'm like, okay. No,
Yeah, and we try to have, we try to explore and show Mike a nice time with some nice lunches here and there. And there's one place that we passed a couple months ago, Kilkenny.
Fantastic.
And Chelsea says,
food.
I don't know. I don't want to go. I said, look, you'll be gone pretty soon, so we'll do a real man trip. Not
Yep.
PC, I know, but a real man trip. And we'll just go to Kilkenny and we'll have a nice lunch. And then today I walk in, she goes, we're going to Kilkenny today. And I said, I thought you didn't want to.
That's when you know she's about to give birth.
Yeah,
But it was amazing because Mike rounded the corner today. Chelsea had a client call right before he walked in. She comes out and he rounds and he goes, my Lord, you need a bed. And she just literally blinks and stares at him. She's like, I know.
It's like, tell me something I don't know, right? Like,
she is a good sport, but yes.
she's short time. This is.
but no, I was surprised to see her here. So, but that's a good thing.
Well, it is a good thing, and you won't see her until December, which is weird.
Yeah. We should have had her on today too.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I would have subbed out for that.
Yeah.
You know what though? She wouldn't have had a filter.
Yeah.
She has zero filter right now.
Definitely Chelsea unplugged.
So we're always excited to have Mike here. This is his last time he was on the podcast was February. A lot has changed in the sense of enhancements. Here we are in this
quality of audio, quality of video, quality of scripting.
Well, and the nice thing is Mike's an avid listener. Mike listens every week.
I do.
Mike was like, yeah, February sucked.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say that. Because I was on, it didn't suck.
There you go. Bingo.
There
That's exactly right. So, well, walk us through, guys, just kind of this morning, what you guys have been up to. We're going to dive into one topic today before we close out and break some bread and then back to the drawing board.
Well, I would love to tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Smart man. Very smart man.
No, it's been. I mean, I've been down here. It's come up here and there when you guys have been talking, but I've been down here probably once a month for the past
since
almost
March.
Since January.
Since January.
Oh yeah.
So we started this year. Mostly, it started with content. Content calendar and email, marketing campaigns and that kind of thing. It's just transitioned into getting more in depth and connected with HubSpot.
Really leveraging it against
yes.
like needs and desires and things happening and
stuff that I was telling them earlier today is like I had a vision that this is what we could do 3 years ago, but I just didn't know how to do it, and I didn't have the time to do it or the expertise or the knowledge or whatever. I just was doing the day-to-day things that I knew needed to be done, but I'm like, there's so much more that we could be doing, and here we are. We're on the cusp of actually making this stuff happen. Connecting all of the purchase data and the registration data and the dealers and the customers, and we're talking about getting our support team, service team, technical support on there now, and
That's big time.
like that's everything that I have wanted to do and had a vision and a dream to do it. Now we're almost there.
But I think that's the cool thing, Mike, because Roop and I were talking about it early last week. This powwow here, not only in January in-person meetings, this has been coming to life for well over a year now. I mean, to your point, years in your head, and then the collaboration between the two of you and the team, et cetera. It's been pretty fun to watch, and it's also frickin' flown by.
Oh yeah,
Well, and
yeah.
and what
Yes.
people don't understand, so when Mike comes here, sometimes once a month, occasionally twice a month. Has that happened?
Yeah,
I think
that's
from time to time.
Yeah.
He shows up between 8 and 8:30, and then literally these guys work the whiteboard sessions, digital sessions, and Mike doesn't leave until between 4 and 5. And I'm like, holy cow, guys, what in the world? And I feel like you have an agenda, and then things just keep adding on, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool to.
I don't know if it's a joke, but the thing is that we never get through the full agenda. Like we,
And Chelsea's very
And now that I know
confident.
that, it's my goal to not
I
get
know,
through
right?
these. I'm always going to be coming up with new things to talk about. Let's
which
go.
is a great thing, but it's so funny because Chelsea will have an agenda. Oh yeah, no problem. You know, we'll probably have this done by 2, and then 4:30 rolls around. I'm like, Mike, you probably ought to get home up north.
Yeah,
to
I
your
think the
family.
latest it's been has been 4 o'clock that I
Yeah.
left, but I try to leave before that just because my wife would appreciate me being home.
Yes, the lovely Chelsea.
Yes.
not
Not
our,
the-
not
not
our, not
our
our
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
No,
Not
not
our
our
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Also lovely, but in a different way.
In different ways.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been great having Mike come up, and I think every time we speak, we have to temper ourselves a little bit because we have the projects we're working on that are important and big, and then there's the
Big
things
time.
we know that are coming,
Right.
And that I'm like, okay, maybe this time next year, it's hard to kind of want to wait for it.
But in some instances, we got to start talking about those things because
you're
otherwise,
prepping now, yeah.
you need to start thinking about, well, maybe some of the pieces we're working on now will
Great
bolt
point.
in, or
Yeah.
will feed into that thing. We got to build it for that, or have that vision in mind, so that when we get to that, we're not thinking, oh, well, why didn't we build it a certain other way, and now we've got to do this workaround or whatever.
Yeah, it's a combination of that 30,000 foot view, and then you're down in the trenches, obviously.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
good lordy.
A lot of it, and coming out of Inbound a couple weeks ago, weekly plug for Inbound and HubSpot.
What are you getting paid? It's time to tell your viewers. I know it.
Well, I may have a sponsor for the podcast. No, coming out of that, there's even some stuff that they released in beta that we're starting to play with. now
Yes.
that was really useful. There was, in particular, I'll even give the note here. In particular, Mike and I had talked about address formats in your contacts for a month or two.
Yeah.
And there's some missing data, some malformed data, and there's some things you can do to kind of tweak the malformed stuff. But missing data, if you don't have a country or a zip code and you just have a city or a state, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
And this can happen for
Unless
a
you
lot
wanted
of
to
reasons.
go back and manually
Manually do
enter
it.
it.
Yeah, 78,000 records. Let's go through those.
Good lord.
So one of the beta features that rolled out while I was in Boston was actually a solution for this problem. And it goes through and they use AI to look at if you have a city or a state, they'll fill in zip code and country. If you have zip code, they'll fill in city and country. Like they'll kind of fill some of that stuff out, which is great. And
So case in point, I looked at that. You showed it to me, and then I looked at it a couple days later, and we had about 6,500 or 6,600 contacts that we had a known location piece
some
of
piece of
information,
the data.
got
Yeah.
it.
but we had missing pieces. So we went through and we looked and we spot checked a few, and it was all correct. It was like,
Yeah.
this is amazing. And so it's like it
Holy
will
mother.
tell you what you need to fill in. It'll present it to you. You can review it, and then you can check the box, and it's done.
And I'm glad we didn't decide to manually do that prior to Inbound.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
man, Murphy's
right.
Law would have really kicked in.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
So anyhow, yeah, it's stuff like that. Those are kind of side things that happen here and there. But like we have, obviously main goals and workflows we're trying to work through. But it's a lot. It's fun stuff.
Well, Roop, take us through our one and only topic today. I think it's very relevant to what you've come back with from Inbound and everything that you're doing with Mike on a daily, weekly, monthly basis.
You had teased that I had written out scripts for the next 35 weeks. I really have actually, and so I pulled 3.
Yeah, we got 3 options
We had
here.
3
so it's
options.
really nice.
Yeah, and we don't get used to that. I have 3 options here for Mike, and we let Mike pick today's topic. So today's topic is going to be open rates versus click rates on emails. So when you're sending out your, what's more important, the open rate or the click rate? And while I was in, Taylor and I were at Inbound, this was something our I'm going to call him friend now, Jay Swedelson, had a session on, and he actually did a kind of back and forth debate with another woman. I can't remember her name. I remember Jay's, but I can't remember her name. But he took the position of open rate was more important. She took click rate was more important. And they just kind of debated on stage. It was fun. You kind of learned a little bit while you're going through it. But it was something I had always kind of thought about prior to this. And, we spend a lot of time, all marketers do, spend a lot of time kind of prepping the internal content of that email, the headline and the image and CTAs, and do I have all the right information in here? Is my footer all good? And the content part of it you spend so much time on. But if no one opens it, no one sees it. It's the tree falling in the woods deal.
Yeah.
So I've always thought open rate was kind of more important. Click rate's great. You want that. That's the goal, right? But if you're not focusing on your open rates and really kind of doing everything you can to get that email opened, and there's a few things you can do, then it doesn't matter. Right. So I sided with Jay on this a long time ago, and it was kind of where he fell as well. Mm-hmm. And some of the things you can do to increase this is a lot of experimentation, A/B testing, focusing on your subject lines and your preview copy. That little copy that we always, if you're in there, you've done emails in there. It's kind of like, the preview field, whatever. It's like insanely important. So we've kind of come back from that, Taylor and I, with a kind of a new focus on what are we doing in the subject lines, what are we doing with those preview texts. Are we sending that email out in a way that it's not showing up in an inbox with 5,000 other pieces of email that the user gets? Real simple trick. Instead of sending on the half hour, quarter, or top of the hour, you can send it like 4:32 or 2:11 or whatever. Those odd numbers will help you stand out a little bit in your inbox. But these are all things that he had tossed out there. I'd thought about, and the idea is if they can't click it if they don't open.
Right.
It's a great point. Do you have any thoughts there?
As far as we were talking about this before we started recording, is most of what people are going to think about open rate versus click rate is like on a marketing email, where it's just a drip campaign or whatever, and you're looking at each one individually. Like you could look at them as a campaign, I suppose, but you're really just kind of looking at each individual email kind of separately. Did this particular message on this thing work, or did this other one work at another time? Which is important. I mean, we do that, but we've also been using, at least in HubSpot, for several years now, on the Sales Hub side, sequences, which sequences are emails that you can put together 3 or 4, however many you want, over a set duration of time, and it's automated like a drip campaign. But for me, they're more sales focused. So this would be like follow-up emails to someone who's inquired, and I'm looking to see if they're still interested. The individual open is not necessarily so much of a an individual email is not so important as it is to what did they do through the entirety of the sequence. So did they open the first one and left the others, or did they not open the first one and then they opened the third, fourth? Did they click on any links that were there? That's interesting to know. But I just want to know, are they still engaged in that process?
Engagement is the key.
And then that tells me whether I should, or along with some other factors that are probably in the contact record, whether I should take the time to call them directly or send them another follow-up email or something more specific or that kind of thing. So,
what I love about that, it's all about intent. Is what you're describing.
Right.
And the thing that really gets under my skin is when someone tries to go for the hard sale when I am nowhere near that point in the sales cycle. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're dealing with tens of thousands of customers on a yearly basis. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's you get and it pisses people off.
It can. It certainly can. Yeah.
You know,
we
times
all
that
get
call wrong. Oh my gosh.
We all get those emails, and I was talking about this. I was at a show last week, and I was talking with another manufacturer rep that was working there with us, and he was describing how he would get an email from a particular company that wants to sell him, like, say, freight or logistics or something like that. And he would tell them, no, thank you, I'm already working with someone else. And then a day later, he'd get basically the same email from a different person from the same company.
Not cool.
They're not using HubSpot, obviously, to keep track of their sequence data, but it just is maddening when you get those types of things. It's like, are you paying attention? Are you tone deaf? Are you just unaware? You're obviously not not taking that type of follow-up seriously. The intent part of it is like, I mean, I have told you that I'm not interested, or I'm giving you signals that I might actually be. So what are you going to do to take the next step?
Yes. And to your point earlier, you brought up personalization.
Yeah,
And we live in that world of,
I
man.
actually want to give Grasshopper and Mike's team a real shout out in that area, because we're starting to work with them and their supports and staff right now on some implementations in HubSpot. And when Mike says, "Hey, yeah, at a certain point in this email, or this discussion, I'm going to give you a call," that's not the norm. That's a very special thing. Personalized versus personalization is becoming a kind of a concept,
that's
and that the
interesting.
user wants not just to see their email, their name. They actually don't even care. Have their name in a subject line, right? Like, hey
Sam.
hey Sam.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that.
Anybody can do
correct.
that.
We all have those tools, even though some still don't. But we have those tools. The better part is when you are on a chat or a phone call or having some sort of interaction with somebody, or they've prompted you towards an interaction where they know you don't have to repeat your customer number, where your address is, what your name is, the company you're for, all those things, you know it.
Right.
And you come with the data and the information to have a personal discussion with that person, right? Not personalized, but personal. And I think they do a lot of, I always hear you in kind of anecdotally mention, and I called this guy and do this guy. I think, like, man, that's
No,
rare.
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It really is. So thinking through, there's so many B2B companies out there. A, we talk to a lot that don't have CRMs. B, creating content for the sake of creating content. And most of it's garbage, or really just, maybe garbage is too far-fetched. It's just not thoughtful. And timing, personalization, et cetera. I feel like there are so many people, Mike alluded to earlier, hey, when we first met earlier this year, a lot of it was content strategy. Well, people just creating content for the sake of creating content. Oh, well, hey, we got a 17% open rate and a 3% click-through rate, so we're good. Okay, well, what happens for the vast majority that aren't opening your emails? What are you doing to get back in front of them? And I know you had a lot of takeaways from Inbound, in particular from Jay, of, hey, don't quit, right? Like it is it can be a longer sales cycle. It can be a 1-week sales cycle. It can be a 10-month sales cycle.
Yeah, it can be longer.
Right.
The content part of it, that was content drives everything that you're doing. If you don't have any content, you have no reason to send an email. Like, what are you putting in there? Right. Social media, what are you posting without content? SEO, what are you tracking them to your website without ongoing fresh content for the search engines? It's kind of key. And you're right. You can't just kind of check the boxes. There has to be some kind of strategy and thought behind it. And I think we do a pretty good job of laying those things against personas and trying to come up with content
do a great
that will
job, no
answer
doubt.
a customer's question. That's how you really, if you're answering a question or a pain point or a problem with your content, that's the same way in that you're doing personalized discussions with them. You're showing that you understand them, right? Like, we know who you are. You're not just a number. We hear you. We understand your pain points. We get it. We may offer a solution. We may just have you a shoulder to cry on, but like we get you. And that's what good content strategy does. It gets its audience.
Yeah, absolutely. It's creating content just to churn content is not going to do anything to help your open rate or your click rate, because it comes across as, disingenuous.
Yep.
All you're after is just to collect my information or to get me. You're not actually out to try to solve a problem or to provide value. We target personal. I mean, to use that word, it's a relationship at that point. You have a relationship with that brand, you have a relationship with that customer, and you should be thinking about what information is going to be the most relevant to them, right, at that point in time.
Yeah.
Whether and it could be at that point in time along the buyer's journey, whether they're doing their research, or maybe they're already a customer now and they've been a customer for a few years. Like the messaging strategy is different for a customer that you've had for 5 years versus someone who has never purchased from you before.
Yes.
And you have to have you have to have an overall content strategy, but you really need to start at having a different content strategy for each set of contacts that you have, and that can, you really need a team of people to be doing that. You can't just have one person doing it, because they're going to have a myopic view of what content is. And content is all of these things.
That's so good in the current customer versus prospective customer realm of current customers. What if you're accidentally through your CRM sending salesy emails? You're like, dude, I own a Grasshopper.
Right.
I get those kinds of emails all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, see, when we start, this is a great example of that. So when we first started doing email marketing more intentionally, I was thinking, well, okay, this would be great. We can send this out to all of our contacts. Well, some of our contacts actually are people who have recently purchased. Well, here we have a new sale program or whatever. The people that bought 6 months to 3 months ago or even 12 months ago, I don't want to send them.
They don't want to hear it's on
They
sale
don't
now.
want to hear it's on sale now. Yeah, I missed that deal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to start trying to figure out how to weed those. If you know that sale date or whatever is past a certain point, you don't send them that email, or you do send them that email or something like that. So yeah, you definitely have to have.
Yeah.
Or it comes across as tone deaf and, well, okay, I bought this product this time around, but maybe I'll look for another brand that's a little bit more, pays attention a little bit more next time.
And I look at it, current customers, right, as we approach the fall and winter seasons.
Fourth
Are
quarter.
they looking for Q4, baby? Are they looking for certain attachments for different, you're going to understand that to everything that you just spoke to, Mike, because you are paying attention.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you have to be.
And I mean, obviously a homer for HubSpot. I don't know how you do this without CRM.
No.
It's impossible.
I mean, you can have intimations about it
Yep.
and kind of intuitions, but you don't build a strategy off of that. You can't. I mean, you can do a few little things here and there, but you can't do anything meaningful or long-term.
Yeah.
No, it really is true. Oh, I love that. Really good point on the current customers and prospective customers. Roopster, what else in this topic?
I think it's almost time for Kilkenny.
You're bailing?
No, I mean, we're all bailing. We're going to lunch.
Well, and Chelsea apparently got that memo because she's dressed in green today.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
that's fantastic.
If I'd have
pub.
known that, I would have worn a green shirt.
I kind of have green
Yeah.
pants on. You kind of have a little.
I have no green.
You
I have
got
no green.
The navy's nice.
But you know what? That's okay.
They'll still serve us, I think.
I think so.
So you bring up the point as we close here. This, by the way, this is very interesting
this has been good.
and very insightful. As we approach Q4, what is your, as a marketer for a B2B company, and it is the mad dash to the end of the year, just top of mind of, hey, you got a lot of moving pieces, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, for me or for us, especially B2B, I mean, moving into this time of year, if you're a B2C brand, you are all hands on deck because it is Thanksgiving, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. But for us, it's more. There's a little bit of a lull because I mean we're in our planning season right now for spring of next year. The next big thing that's on my calendar is Equip Expo in Louisville in October, 3 weeks. So that'll be fun. And then after that, I mean, we go into the holidays. We advertise a bit because people will still do end of the year purchases for tax purposes. But for the most part, it's just, okay, we're looking ahead at spring for us. And it would be the same for any B2B. It kind of depends on their selling season, that kind of thing.
Very true.
Some brands are going to be busy this time of year. Other brands are going to be, kind of in a lull or in a kind of a catch your breath kind of thing. We're kind of in that in between space.
Yeah, and it's tomorrow we're headed up to Mike's neck of the woods, and we've got all things planning, some good conversations ahead tomorrow. So it's a very much a grasshopper kind of week.
Double dose.
You get a double dose. You're not going, right?
No, I'm out tomorrow. Mike, speaking of trade shows, you and Trent just got back for one in London, right?
Yes, we both went to London.
And Trent went to London,
England.
and
I went to London, Ohio.
Okay. I'm sure they were both fun.
But where else did you get to visit?
But I got to stay in Dublin
So he hit.
and then went to London every day. Still Ohio.
What is going on in Ohio?
And for those of you that don't know geography, that's basically Columbus. So. Smack in the middle of, no, it's a farm science review, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a bunch of big ag equipment. We have a distributor there that has sold our mowers for decades, and they exhibit every year, and we feel like it's an important, not only important relationship, but it's an important show that's an important customer base of ours.
Nice.
And so we send a representative. It's been Trent that has gone to that show in the past, but for the past couple of years when he's been going to England, I get to go to Ohio. Maybe
But
we'll
you said it was a good time.
Yeah, it's good. Those are great guys up there that
Nice.
we work with. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, travel is always a bit of a bear. You got to deal with the airport. You got to deal with the people.
Oh,
You
I hear you.
deal
The
deal with
people.
being away from home.
Yeah.
And away from the office. But it's important to you take time for the things that are important, whether it's in your family or in your business or in your life or whatever. So this was important, and it was. And it's important to be here.
Yes. Hey, and we love having you here, and we appreciate you being here and taking
Yes.
the time. One quick wrap to all of the points that Mike and Root brought up is you are marketing to that other business. Behind that business is a human, and they want that connection that
Yes.
Mike spoke to, and it is so lost these days. So what can you do to be intentional? And especially as you get in, no matter what your busy time of year is, your customers want that authentic interaction.
This is almost a tease for one of the future topics.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So 34 more to go.
Yeah. It's the 35th one. Yeah.
Okay, fellas. Thank you. Mike, thank you. Great to
Yes.
have you on. And that is a wrap. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed our little chat and found ways to grow your own marketing strategies. Remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media @Littlefield Agency.